Hello and welcome to the OKPreps Extra Show. I'm Patrick Prince, joined as always by Barry Lewis. It's Thursday, May 15th. And Barry, before we get into high schools, and we got a really nice lineup today, I feel like we were just going over it before we went live. Good stuff to talk about. Before we do, I have to ask you about Pete Rose. You're a huge baseball guy. You know I love asking you baseball questions. He is now eligible to be voted on in the Hall of Fame. If you had a vote, how would you vote?
I would vote yes, and I will preface it by saying I wasn't a Pete Rose fan at all. I
Oh,
respected I respected him as a player, but I thought he was known as Charlie Hustle, and I think he did a lot to make sure everyone knew he was Charlie Hustle. So some of that hustle to me was like overdone, but I do respect what he accomplished. I do respect that he came to play every day, intense competitor, and you can't write the history of baseball without the incredible hits record that he achieved, 4,256 hits, a record that's probably never going to be broken. So I would vote for him. I think the ban has been long enough for him not to be voted on, and I think he deserves a chance to get voted on and get elected. And I would vote for him on the first chance I would get. I wouldn't like drag this process out. He's either a Hall of Famer, yes or no, and I would say he is a Hall of Famer.
it's been very frustrating for me over the years because he was his own worst enemy after the fact. The cover up is always worse than the crime in many cases. Like, just if he just would have just owned up to it and said, "I did it. I'm sorry." Da 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 da. We could have avoided so much of this. But ultimately, I think you're right. You can't tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose. You just can't.
It was
Um,
it was never meant to be a lifetime ban. He he could have dragged it out more. The suspension came down in the middle of the '89 season, and he could have dragged it out, but accepted the suspension at the time with the understanding that 4 or 5 years down the line that there was a good chance that it would be lifted. And obviously it wasn't. The ban was still in effect until this week. And I just think it's time. He paid the price, and it's never been proven that he bet against his team. Now that would put a whole different light on it. If it was shown that he would bet against his team, that's a whole different deal. But with what we know now, I think Pete Rose should be elected to the Hall of Fame, although I don't think he will be.
All right, on to high schools. Before we get into our stuff, though, I just want to give a quick shout out to Booker T Junior golfer Harrison Shaw. He shot a final round 66 this week. It was this week, right? Earlier this week.
Yes.
Yeah, time's a blur always for me. So yeah, at Muskogee to win the 5A state golf crown, the first time Booker T Washington has had a state winner in golf. They have a proud history in athletics, as we all know, but first time that a golfer has gotten a state title. My nephew is on the Booker T golf team, and I watched him play golf a little bit this year. And anytime I love talking golf with him. He and I go play from time to time. Um, Anytime we talk golf, he always told me about his teammate Harrison Shaw. He's like, "You got to go see him play." He was telling me how good he is. So I guess he wasn't lying because now Harrison's a state champion golfer. So congrats to him. That's awesome. Barry, anything you want to add to that, or shall we move on to our next topic?
And also, congrats to the Claremore, which won the team title,
Yep.
and also to Benton Manley of Regent Prep, won individual title and helped Regent win the team title in 2A.
You mentioned Claremore. Perfect segue. Uh, Randy Rutherford, we've kind of known for a while now. It's official, new head coach at Claremore. Big time hire for them. Barry, what do you think?
Great hire for them. Succeeds Tommy Nolan, who was there for 14 years. Did a lot of good things there at Claremore. But Randy Rutherford, All-World Boys Basketball Coach of the Year in 2024, did a great job at McLain. And I think this is a really good fit for both sides.
Well, McLain got a pretty good replacement for Rutherford, hiring former OU player Ebi Ere. What do you think of that hire?
Great hire for McLain. He's got some big shoes to fill, but that's a really nice. I mean, just like 7 years ago when McLain hired Randy Rutherford, that's you thought that's a big time hire. Say that's a big time hire now. With McLain's got another big time coach there, so uh, really they've had some big time coaches there at McLain. When you think in football, Willie Ponder was their head football coach for 6 years or so, and they've got some nice name coaches at McLain.
Yeah. Let's go to football for a second. Let's say a unique hire at Victory Christian. Tell us about their new coach.
Their new head football coach is RJ Wakely, son of the athletic director and longtime basketball coach there, Ryan Wakely. And RJ also was really good basketball player as well at Victory. But what makes this unique is he just finished his playing career. His last college football season was 2023. And then it was a really good season at Evangel. And then he joined Victory's coaching staff last year, was quarterbacks coach. And then Victory ran into a situation when their successful head coach, Brett Smith, suddenly resigned last Saturday. And so here you are at Victory right before spring practice, got to move fairly quickly. And they felt they had the right person right there in RJ Wakely. Who, as his dad says, he's got a lot of advantages. He knows the Victory culture. That's important. And people thought he would be, from seeing him coach for a year last year, that, I mean, he already knows the players and they just would be a really good fit and could hit the ground running and make it a smooth transition as possible. Again, it's really amazing to think he was quarterbacking Victory in the state championship game back in 2016, and already he's head coach of a really good program. So what an opportunity. A lot of people thought, I mean, it's not so different. I mean, Dane Evans didn't become a head coach, but it's not, there's some similarities to Dane Evans, who ended his pro playing career in 2023, and all of a sudden, what an impact he made at Owasso last year.
Yep.
And a lot of people were thinking, well, he'd be a really hot prospect to be a head coach, even though he'd only been in the coaching business for a year, so soon after his playing career. So there's some similarities there with RJ. I always thought he was incredible. Of course, being a coach's son, no surprise he had a high IQ, whether it was football or basketball.
Do you think how young he is going to be a good thing or a bad thing? He's not tremendously older than the kids he's coaching.
No, not considering he's a 2018 Victory graduate. Um, you've seen this go both ways. I mean, there's been times when that's a real asset and times it isn't. I remember Caleb Christian when he became Hominy coach. I think he became their coach when he was 26 or 27, and it's worked out really well there. So it could go either way. I think not everyone would be ready for the job at that age, but uh, apparently, I think RJ Wakely has a good chance for success there. A lot. He's got his dad was not part of the decision-making process. He recused himself from that. So obviously, the people at Victory, the administrators know him, and they thought he was the right person for the job at this time. And we'll see, because Victory's got a really nice program, and they've got some brand new facilities, new training center, and so it's a really nice job.
TU has a new basketball signee you wanted to talk about. Tell us about Mr. Carter Benton.
Yes, want to talk about him because he's a local product. A lot has been made about, and rightfully so, how TU hasn't really signed any local high school players since they're over the last 15 or 20 years. And local high school players are what helped make them an Elite Eight team back in 2000 and led them to success in that era. So Carter Benton is not going to TU directly out of high school. He is a 2024 Holland Hall graduate and was one of our all-world basketball player of the year finalists last year. He's a sharpshooter. He went to Pacific, so he's got some D1 experience. He went to Pacific, played there as a freshman, and now he's coming back home to TU. He's a sharpshooter, And goodness knows, TU could use more out. Of course, most of our local teams, I think all of our local teams could use some better outside shooting for that matter. So there's no doubt about his shooting ability. It'll be interesting to see what type of how it works out for Carter Benton at TU. But it is encouraging to see TU signing a local player.
Yeah, for sure. For sure it is. So I just wanted to give a quick heads up to everybody out there. So spring football kicks off next week, Barry, and we're going to have extensive coverage. We'll be going out to schools, talking with coaches, talking with players. This Sunday, Bill Haston will have a package on Owasso football. He spent the day out there yesterday. I think he was out there.
Yes.
Um, so he'll have a really informative story like he always does about Owasso. And I understand Drew Frankenfield looks a little different these days, Barry, is what we're being told.
He had a productive off season in the weight room, from what I've heard.
That's what we're hearing. So yeah, look for that in Sunday's paper, and then we'll be covering spring football like we always do. Bill will be out, Barry will be out, maybe some others. We'll see how all that goes. What else is on your mind, Barry? Anything else, or shall we leave it there?
Well, this is state championship weekend. Uh, Remember, the baseball finals are at One Oak Field on Saturday, 5A at 10:30, 6A at 1:30, and it's not at One Oak Field or in the Tulsa area a lot. So you might, if you're a baseball fan in Tulsa, you might want to take advantage of this opportunity. And of course, you got state championships being decided this weekend in Oklahoma City, the track and tennis championships, and also a great opportunity as far as locally is concerned. At Rogers State is the primary site for the state soccer championships Friday and Saturday. 7 of the 8 state soccer championships are at Rogers State. That's a lot more. This was designated that the East Side would host this year, and that being Rogers State. We already knew that they would host if there's an East-West matchup our matchup involving an East team. It was surprise, so that wasn't a surprise. But what was surprising was that there are 7 of those games. This is really rare for the East to be represented in 7 games, 7 of the 8 soccer finals. A typical number had been 4 or 5, maybe. Sometimes we've had as many as 2. I think in the past, the most I remembered was 6 of the 8. So this has really been a big year for soccer. And the fact that it's all East versus West matchups, that's all in these 7 games at Rogers State. That also makes it extra interesting. So a great weekend of soccer scheduled at RSU.
Absolutely. All right, we'll call that a show for this week. I'm Patrick Prince. He's Barry Lewis. Great stuff, Barry. We'll be back next week.